Hello and welcome to Up Dog Sports Talk. I am your host tonight, Justin McGovern, and we are going to be talking Big Ten football. And who better to talk about the Big Ten, the conference with the last two national titles, than the guys who talk about the Big Ten the most? Inside the Pylon, Clinton and Ryan are both here. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Well, I am Clinton, over part of the half of the duo of Inside the Pylon. We started the podcast, Ryan? We're a year and a half in now.
Something like that.
Due to my love of forever living in Big Ten country. And I guess technically, Ryan, you forever lived in Big Ten country now that we've expanded to the West Coast.
Some are saying Las Vegas, Big Ten country.
We'll be moving the Big Ten championship there probably in the next 5 years, I'm sure. But we've had a lot of fun with it so far. Wonderful platforms like what you guys run, interacting with us helps us grow the show, and we really appreciate that. And we love everyone else we've interacted with. We're currently working on our fall previews, so we've had a lot of fun with that, and I've been looking forward to talking this show all day, so I'm ready to get going.
I
Awesome.
am Ryan. I am the smarter and better looking half of the podcast, but the less enthusiastic.
So you can have smarter, maybe better looking, but you won't get stronger.
No, I'm definitely not. I'm still working on my weak back syndrome. That's the work in progress. I don't know that I have anything to add, ? It's been fun. I enjoy this. It's fun to riff for 3 hours a week on nonsense, which is what our show devolves into half the time. So looking forward to getting out of, as much as I like doing our previews, and if you guys are listening to this and have not checked it out, you should. It's a lot of good info. It's a good way to kind of learn about some of these other teams that you might not be as invested in. Just to know, if you're a Big Ten fan, know your opponent for the upcoming season, learn a little bit about them. But as much as I like doing it and we learn a lot from them, I like our regularly scheduled programming where we just nonsensically talk for 90 minutes half the time.
I love it. Yeah, and obviously, you guys, I know you're diving into MAC previews later this week as well. So, covering all the Midwest, and that's kind of similar to what we're about here. We like to cover everyone in college football and the NFL. Tonight is a college football show. We are talking about the Big Ten tonight, but this is part of a preview series where we are diving into all 10 conferences in college football. Big 12 and SEC has already gone out. We have tonight's show with the Big Ten, and then look out because American Athletic Conference is coming. Oh, sorry. The American is coming after that. Can't disrespect the bald eagle mascot. Did not think I was going to mention that in tonight's show, but let's go ahead and kick this thing off before we talk about any more conference mascots, shall we? So we start here with our championship contenders. You can see Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. Any surprises to either of you guys in this tier?
Go ahead, Ryan. Start, Clint? Okay, I'll start. Surprises, no. I think as far as, if you break down the Big Ten last year, right, I mean, that was pretty much the championship tier. I mean, throw Indiana in there as a playoff team as well. But as far as staying power, I think atop of the conference until Indiana proves it. I don't know that they can necessarily go quite into that yet. Sorry, Justin, we see that there. But, I mean, we're talking about programs that have had a period of sustained success, right? So I think that until proven otherwise, you kind of have to put these teams in there. And I mean, say what you want about the coaches poll, but coaches poll comes out today, and I think all these teams are in the top 7, which is firmly in the playoff hosting first round game or getting a first round bye territory. So I would say that I'm sure we'll talk about this as we get in a little bit, but I mean, if we're talking about our top 3 personally, when we did our tier team, that's pretty much covers it as well. I mean, don't mention my Illinois take, Clinton.
No surprise here for me. These are all the top 3 national teams that you see everywhere. It's the teams I'm most confident in. Ryan, back in, I don't know, when we started our spring previews, was pretty confident Penn State being the number 1 team, maybe not in the Big Ten, but maybe coming in number 1 ranked in the country for this year. If you look what they've done, they're pulling from the Ohio State and Michigan model from the past 2 years. They have brought back their talent. They are selling out for what they need to do. Wide receiver still a massive question mark for this team. It ended their season essentially last year. Do they have the talent now to replace that? And then Ohio State and Oregon, Ohio State especially, losing so much talent of not youth, but old from their last roster. Now they have to reload at so many spots, but both those teams are just littered with top 5 talent everywhere. So when you're reloading with high 4 stars and 5 stars, it's a lot easier to stay at the top of the league. My general thought was, I was looking at this, maybe the most questionable of those three is probably Oregon, I would say. Maybe that's some Ohio State homer bias in me, but I feel like Penn State is pretty stable there and Ohio State's there. And if there was a team who maybe falls short of that championship contender aspects, I would probably say Oregon at this time. Sorry, Dale, if you tune into this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was actually going to lead into my next question. So that was a good take there. Your team that could be a potential bust is Oregon. Ryan, do you have one on your side that is either Oregon or maybe someone different?
Yeah, we when we did our tiers in the spring, I actually had Oregon below Illinois, and I kind of, the more that I read about Illinois, I think I'm starting to regret that. And I think that, I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute, but when I look at these, it's like, so Penn State to me of these three teams has the highest floor because, I mean, James Franklin, say what you want about Big Game James and that moniker, like they don't lose to teams that they should not lose to. So if we're operating under the assumption that both Oregon and Ohio State are going to be good this year and Penn State loses those games, they're still going to be 10-2 and probably still be in the playoffs. So I think that's the floor for them, barring injury, right? Like Drew Aller gets hurt game one, then all bets are off. But I think with Ohio State, I know there's a lot of questions about the quarterback position and maybe a little bit about the running back position and how do you replace these guys on defense. But if you look at this program since the 21st century started, aside from the Luke Fickell interim year when 5 of their best 10 players were suspended and they went 7-6, like this team is consistently in like the 9-10 win range regardless. And I mean, even if you look at since Ryan Day took over, I mean, you go from Dwayne Haskins at quarterback, what do you have, like 55 touchdowns, 54 touchdowns his last season at Ohio State, and you go to Justin Fields, and there were still some questions about him. Did he leave Georgia because he stinks, or did he leave Georgia because Kirby Smart doesn't know how to do the quarterback position? And, oh, well, they're good with him. And then he leaves, and all right, well, what is C.J. Stroud going to be? Oh, just another All-American and a first-round pick and now really good NFL player. And then even when they had Kyle McCord and Ohio State fans incessantly were whining about him, they still had a pretty damn good season that year. And then, you know, the big question on the team last year was Will Howard at quarterback. What can he be? And he just won a national title. So I know, like, we give Lincoln Riley always gets that credit of, like, you know, the quarterback whisperer, and USC is always, or Lincoln Riley offense is always going to have a quarterback until he doesn't. And then they didn't really last year, and oops, that goes out the window. So I think Ryan Day's in that category of he deserves the benefit of the doubt with the quarterback position. As far as Oregon goes, I think we're not making enough of what they lost offensively. You know, as limited as Dylan Gabriel might have been downfield and from an NFL perspective, which kind of funny that he ends up going in the 3rd round and might be the Browns starting quarterback now. But, you know, they lose Dylan Gabriel. They lose their top running back. And I know they brought in a good guy in Mackay Hughes from the Tulane Green Wave. I don't know why I had to stutter through that. But they lose their top 4 pass catchers as well, including Evan Stewart to injury. And I don't remember what podcast I was listening to, but they were talking about the Oregon receivers. And the point was, well, they didn't get anyone from the portal, so they must feel good about what they have. And I'm like, okay, that's a fair point. But that was also before Evan Stewart got hurt. So now you're going from, we have Evan Stewart as our top guy to we feel good about what we have, you know, below him at that 2-3 level replacing him. Well, now all of a sudden you need guys who you were hoping to step up to be a complementary piece. Someone has to step up to be a go-to guy. And I really like Kenyon Sadiq as a tight end, but as someone who, for the last, I swear to God, like 10 years of watching Notre Dame football, watching an offense that's based off of a running game and a really good tight end, I know the limitations that has. So I wonder what that's going to look like. And I mean, they have quarterback questions too. You know, we've seen Dante Moore as a starting quarterback at UCLA, and it didn't go particularly great. And I don't know that that's necessarily entirely his fault, but he's had a year to learn, and he's a talented guy for sure. But I think there's enough questions around this offense that I think, you know, maybe we're all being a little collectively too high on Oregon. And I could see them, again, I don't know that they're going to fall off a cliff, and I still think they'll be in the playoff chase. But if they went 9-3 this year, I would not be shocked.
Honestly, I said Oregon, but in general, I think all three it could be a disappointment. It depends on what their fan base is looking for. And we've talked with our guy Matt Flip with Penn State. We've talked with Penn State fans on social media. Is this a natty or bust season? And if your season is riding on a national title in the way that Michigan and Ohio State's did, and you don't win it, that could be deemed a disappointment. God forbid Penn State somehow chokes this, loses Ohio State, Oregon, and to Indiana, and they go 9-3 and miss the playoffs. I don't know if James Franklin will be able to walk back to his car without mass security. And then Ohio State, I mean, Ryan said it, they seem pretty foolproof when it comes to winning. They're 10 or wins or better every regular season. They just don't have losing seasons. It doesn't happen. But God forbid, it's a challenging schedule with you go 9-3 and you miss the playoffs, falling to Natty. You weren't Michigan record, but you're kind of in the same scenario as you didn't make it after you won a national championship. And then we just no need to rehash Oregon, but you win a Big Ten title first year, you get blown out in the Rose Bowl, and then you just come back with fans expecting a big rebound, and then you miss the playoff, and that feels like an utter disappointment there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to keep punching on Oregon here, but the other challenge is I also look at the schedule, and there's some scary games on here. You have the whiteout at Penn State. At this current point, I have that one chalked as a loss. And you get towards the end of the season, when last year you kind of saw Oregon kind of start to drop off a little bit, start to get a little bit beat up. You go to Kinnick in November. You travel to Washington. Washington's riding like a 20-something game win streak at home. Those are very tough games. I could easily see where that puts you in a 9-3 record, which may not put you in the college football playoff.
Well, I think the fascinating thing about this year in the Big Ten, and I think, Clinton, I think you're in agreement with me. I think this actually might have been an original you take. I think, whereas last year, right, it felt like we had like 3 tiers to the Big Ten last year. It was like your playoff teams, and maybe you could throw Illinois in there since they went 9-3. But you have your top 5 who kind of seemed head and shoulders above everyone else, and then you had your bottom 3 with Northwestern, Purdue, and who am I blanking on here? Maryland. But it felt like everyone like else in that middle was just kind of like there, where they're fine, they're good enough that if you're playing bad that they can get you, but they're not really scary in their own right. I think this year, at least the top 3, maybe not as much Indiana or Illinois. I think Illinois takes a little bit of a step forward. And I think Indiana, too, can be better than they were last year, even though the record might not say it. But I think at least those top 3, all of them come back to the pack maybe a little bit, maybe aside from Penn State. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I think like that next, like that 5, 6 to 12 range, I think all those teams are going to be a lot better. So that you look at these schedules, and I mean, in using Oregon's November as an example, like if Iowa takes a little bit of a step forward on offense, that's not going to be an easy game for Oregon. I think if Drake Lindsey's a good quarterback for Minnesota, that's not going to be an easy game for them either. If USC can get their stuff together and stop blowing fourth quarter leads, that's not going to be an easy game either. And I mean, you touched on the at Washington. I mean, they were a completely different team on the road versus at home last year. So where you look at these schools and like from a like surface level helmet standpoint, maybe you look and you're like, that's not super scary, but you line them up back to back to back to back to end the season when they already have to play Penn State, when they already have to play Indiana, maybe they already have a loss or 2, and you got to be perfect in November to keep your playoff hopes alive. That's not an easy task to deal with that kind of external pressure either.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting. Like, none of them are really truly ironclad this year. I think we even covered the Penn State scenario, but you even look at Ohio State. Like, you have the opener against Texas. That is fair enough to consider a toss-up game. They also have to travel to Washington. Again, riding that win streak. Washington's a tough place to play. And then, of course, we have the elephant in the room. You have the season finale where Ohio State is not... Can you imagine... Like, I don't even know what would happen to Columbus if they have 2 losses entering that game and history repeats itself from the last several years. That would be a mess.
I don't know if I want to do... Ryan and I switched to the latter half of season last year doing Saturday night recap shows instead of Sunday. I think we'd have to move that one to Sunday. I need about 24 hours. I needed almost 24 hours to cool off from last year's. That one would be really bad. Sitting 9-2 and then you go 9-3. The amount of, I have my personal Twitter and our Inside the Pylon Twitter. I do most of the interactions there. And I do my best to be as unbiased as you should be as a podcast host. But damn, reading on there, all the stuff of the Michigan-Ohio State banter, and I just sit and think of that as like, if they eliminated Ohio State from the playoffs the year after they won the national championship, and it was 5 straight. Technically, Ohio State's last one was 2019 because there wasn't a game in 2020. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to turn off Twitter for like 6 months. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could stay neutral on that one, man. That'd be tough for me.
Oh man, yeah, that would be rough, especially because I know for me, like, while I'm a Bowling Green fan first, but I still root for Ohio State, and because I growing up rooting for them, and our intern Tony is a Michigan fan, so internal banter on this podcast would be unreal.
That's hilarious.
Clinton, you do realize that since I started working for the University of Michigan, they have not lost to Ohio State.
That's all right. Notre Dame hasn't beaten Ohio State since you've been there, since we've known each other. So that's an added plus for me.
Fair enough. Touché.
Oh, that's great. So we'll go ahead and jump here to the next tier. These are teams that I kind of looked at as ones who could crash the college football playoff: Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Nebraska, and Iowa. Who in this tier kind of catches you as surprising, like you're a little bit surprised to find them?
So I'll start this one. I'm not on board with Michigan. And here we go. The Ohio State guys talking about Michigan. My problem is they lost so much talent on a team that needed all that talent to get every ounce, squeeze all the juice out of it they could. Graham, Grant, Stewart, Johnson, they're all gone. Their best weapon on offense was Cole.
Let's put our final predictions on the table. Big Ten championship. Who is making it and who wins?
Clinton, you go first. I don't want to do this right now. I need to think.
I think it's Ohio State, Penn State rematch. And I think Ohio State beats them both times. But I do not think Ohio State is undefeated. I think Ohio State's going to potentially lose week 1 to Texas, have at least 1 loss, maybe 2. But I think Ohio State wins the Big Ten championship. And Ryan Day can get that monkey off his back again, even though he's already had one.
Oh, my God.
He has as many national championships as Big Ten championships now,
That's
right?
insane.
That's right, yeah. Pretty crazy, right?
It's
also crazy to say you won an Addy in the year you didn't win your conference championship. It still feels weird to me.
Yeah, the old school side of me does kind of wants to throw up a little bit at that thought, but
like every ounce of me wants to say like Ohio State, Indiana matchup we didn't get regular season. That'd be really cool. I just, as much as I want to believe in the Hoosiers, if they're 10-2, but then Penn State, Ohio State are 11-1 each, then you're not getting in. Like you just need more. Like missing Ohio State, you need to get. I feel like Oregon and Penn State, and then you're in there, obviously, if you don't trip up. But I just don't know if I'm ready to put Indiana there yet. I think that'd be fun. I've backed further off Illinois. I just don't know who else you put there. It would be great to say Oregon, but since we all kind of put them in our bottom 3 of the top tier, could they do it? Yes. Will they? I don't know. I think an Ohio State-Oregon Big Ten matchup would be fun. But for now, I'm going top 2, Ohio State, Penn State.
I'm going to say that we're going to have a Penn State-Oregon rematch.
Okay.
And Penn State gets them this time. Because, you look at, let's be realistic about Oregon's schedule here. I mean, playing in the whiteout game is going to be a very difficult game to win. No bones about it. Say what you want about James Franklin. That's one of, if not the best home field advantage in college football. If Oregon then, after their bye, is able to get through Indiana, they finish with Rutgers, Wisconsin, at Iowa, Minnesota, USC, at Washington. Again, not the easiest schedule, but if you can get your stuff together in that middle third there, then I think the end becomes a little bit more palatable for you. So if you're Penn State and you do win that Oregon game, I mean, you basically just have to make sure you beat Indiana, because even if you lose to Ohio State, you're still making the Big Ten title game at 11-1, because you'll have the tiebreaker over Oregon. I don't know how to check the math on this to figure out what the tiebreaker is going to be, but we're just going to go with an Oregon-Penn State rematch with Penn State taking it.
I've got Ohio State versus Penn State. I think Ohio State wins the first one, but Penn State wins the rematch to win the Big Ten championship.
Would be fun.
All right. Yeah. That'd be spicy.
Now,
absolutely.
Playoff picks. How many Big Ten teams are making it, and who's making it?
Oh, boy. I'm going to go 4 again.
I think 4.
Honestly, I'm kind of tempted to say the same 4 as last year, guys. I just, I don't know. I mean, if we're saying Penn State, Oregon in the Big Ten title game, those are 2 playoff teams. Even if Ohio State loses to Penn State and Texas, they're still a playoff team, in my opinion.
Well,
maybe.
I guess the math there, if they lose to Texas, Ohio State would need to lose the second game in order to not make the Big Ten title.
Oh my gosh,
so you're probably looking at an upset loss to. You're probably looking at an upset loss to Washington. Maybe they get Texas. Maybe they get Texas
right,
in the opener.
Here we go.
That's at home.
All right. I'm going to go off the wall here because now I'm actually thinking about the logistics of my prediction out loud, and I think it would require Ohio State to go 9-3. So I'm going to say Ohio State doesn't make it. I'm going to say Penn State, Oregon, Indiana, and Washington.
Oh, all right.
Which again,
I like it.
Don't ask me to fact check the logistics on that because if Oregon's playing for the Big Ten title, that means they probably beat Washington. So I don't actually know who else Washington plays to. Yeah, okay, or Washington beats Ohio State. Okay, yeah, you know what? That's my pick. Screw you, Clinton. Your Buckeyes aren't going to the playoff this year.
It's just not going to happen. It's Ohio State, it's Oregon, it's Penn State. Of the top 3, I would say most likely Oregon is the one to not make it. Get my 4th team in there. I actually think I'm starting to drink the Indiana Kool-Aid again, even though it's a tough one. I think if they're 10-2, I think they're in. I just don't know. I backed off Illinois. I'd love to see Washington be the 5th team. But actually, you know what? I don't know how the math works out, but I think you could squeeze a 5th one being Iowa. If we're in enough on Gronowski there. I think it could be. I think Washington gets close. I think they're a sleeper for a reason, but I think they're like an 8-4, 9-3.
Clinton, the issue with that is Iowa plays 3 of the teams you also have in the playoff.
That's fair. I told you I didn't know how the math would work.
There's a lot of logistics on this that I did not think about ahead of time.
It's a rotating bundle of crap.
Yeah,
it's just all going to work out, and they're going to get in.
Me. That's on me.
I'm going to go with 4, guys. I'm going to go with Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, and Iowa crashing the college ball playoff
nice.
at 10-2.
I love it.
Listen, in 3 years when we have auto bids and 8-4 Iowa is playing for a spot in the Big Ten title game as the 6th seed, it doesn't matter. Sorry, I just had to lob a grenade in there at the end.
Yeah, certainly.
It's a bad idea.
Well,
I don't support it at all.
And then finally, you know what? I'll throw one last question to you guys. Just while we're all tired, I think we're all on the East Coast here, but just throw one more in here. The Penn State all-in year is successful. Do they win the national championship?
No.
Yeah, I'm with Clinton. I'm going to say no.
I don't know if I'm even taking them to the semifinal.
It's just
it would depend on how it shakes out.
No, yeah, I think this is just with the straight seeding now. I think we have this preliminary idea on how the playoff looks, and it's going to be entirely different this year. And I don't know that there's going to be quite the favorable path that they got last year available to anyone. But I don't know what that path looks like. I'm just going to go off the cuff and say I'm going to say no, but reserve the right to change my mind until I see what Drew Aller does as a quarterback this year.
I'm all in on them, boys. Right now, if I had to pick a champion, I'm going Penn State. I think just a similar path to what Michigan and Ohio State did the last 2 years. Seniors coming back for their revenge tour. We're going to get it done. That's what I'm buying with Penn State. I'm buying in this year, guys.
I think if Ohio State can't have it, obviously being a fan, I think it'd be cool to see the Big Ten go 3 straight. That would quiet the SEC talk down just a little bit more.
Clinton, no, it would not.
I know. It would probably ramp it up even worse.
They'll it's always a different argument. It's always a different argument.
Media days in 2026 will be disgusting.
Oh.
We better have some good shows ready for that week.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mentioning that, I guess you guys can go ahead. How about you plug your socials? Where can the people find you?
All right. You can find us on everything: YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Not Facebook. We're not on Facebook. Don't go on Facebook. All of those.
No boomer market.
Yeah, we're not. We're not in the boomer market. Maybe that's our market insufficiency, Clinton. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if the boomers know what podcasts are. You can find us at ITPCFB on all of those platforms. Twitter is probably the best one-stop shop because we'll tweet out all the links there. You can subscribe to that YouTube channel. We would love to have your subscription. That's again at ITPCFB. If you would like to listen to us in podcast form, we are wherever you get your shows, Apple, Spotify, the whole 9 yards there. Search for Inside the Pylon, a Midwest college football podcast. You can find us there. Follow the show, subscribe to the show, whatever the nomenclature is for that. So that way, whenever we drop an episode, it will come right to your phone, so you'll never miss it. But once the regular season-ish starts, week 0, leading up to week 0 starts, we'll be 3 times a week. We usually go live on YouTube Sunday night. Are we doing Sunday night this year, or are we going to do Saturday night?
I think we were aiming Saturday nights to
Okay.
do like the live recap. So Saturday night, Monday night, and Thursday night for our live pick'em show.
Well, that'll work good for the first week because I'm not talking to you during the Notre Dame game on Sunday night. So, there you go. Saturday night at some point after the games are over, or the West Coast games are starting, we'll go live there. But then Monday night, 9 Eastern, and Thursday night, 9 Eastern is when you can find us as well.
Awesome.
Button, anything you want to add?
No. Hope you guys, thank you to Justin and Updog Sports for having us on. Any of you guys who listen to them, we'd love to have you check us out even periodically. We have a lot of fun with our in-season. Ryan just beefed up our intro sound, and we'll have some cool segments and sounds for you for the upcoming season for the Pick'em shows, our Random Monday shows, and our reaction shows on Saturday nights.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Absolutely. You guys make college football fun. Thanks for joining us for Big Ten football. And again, we are Updog Sports Talk. You can find us on all those social media platforms. Pretty much all the same ones that Ryan mentioned. Plus, we are available for the Boomer Market on Facebook as well. So congratulations to the Boomers on that one. My colleague usually does the outro, so I'm going to keep it short in this case. Be sure to tune in. We have more conference predictions coming your way. For that, have a good one, everyone.
You guys.